Early voting is open right now in Coweta County, and the Republican primary is May 19th. District 3 here in Coweta has an open seat for the first time in 5 terms. And most voters in that district have only seen the candidates on a forum stage. 2-minute answers, 90-second rebuttals, and a hard timer. You can't know someone in 90 seconds. Dakota Caldwell wasn't planning to run. She's a CPA, mom of 4, and she volunteers in the foster care system. Then a 5-term commissioner stepped down, and she started thinking, why not me? So a heads up on how this conversation plays out. We're going to jump right in. The first stretch is about Dakota the person, family, faith, raising 4 kids, and the values that shaped her. You'll hear about Carline meltdowns, picky eaters, what it actually looks like to negotiate with a 3-year-old. That part's on purpose. You can't decide if a candidate represents you until you know who they are. Then we'll get into policy. And so I went back through the recent forums here locally, and I pulled the questions that she got in 90 seconds to answer when she really needed about 20 minutes. We revisit those and let her finish her thought. More detail just for you. Topics like project sale, property taxes, the residential versus commercial math that nobody's explained to you, first responders, and what she'd want to point to in 4 years and say, I did that. I wanted her heard the way that she deserved to be heard at those forums, but couldn't. You see, mission-driven leaders in this community deserve to show up online the way that they show up in person. And that's the work that I do here at Legacy Media Group. And if you want to talk about it more, my email is chad@thelegacymediagroup.com. Now, let's get into my conversation with Dakota Caldwell.
You grow from talking to different people and hearing different perspectives.
You do.
And, you know, we're throwing an event here soon, and they're like, oh, well, we know that they're a Democrat. And I said, I'm going to have to work with everyone. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't scare me. I think that you have to be able to communicate with everyone, especially if you represent a district of very diverse views.
Yes.
You have to be able to and be willing to have that conversation, even if it is harder, you know, or maybe would not flow as well as like a conversation that you talk to someone that agrees with you. But you're not going to grow from just talking to people that you agree with all the time. Because if you have a group of people that come together that with diverse views or perspectives, you are going to come out with a better solution that fits for a wider variety of people. Mm-hmm. So why would I be opposed to talking to someone that I don't agree with or that might not agree with me?
Right. And so I believe, and I'm just getting to know you, I think you do too, we communicate to listen, not to speak.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people, especially today, and especially when it comes to tribalism, we have a conversation waiting to give our next point.
Yeah.
But
well, you're constantly thinking about what you're going to say next.
Yeah.
Instead of
which is
really
ironic.
Reflecting on what the person is saying.
Which is ironic because I'm trying to do both right now. So this is a little different and a little difficult. But while I'm making sure everything is working and turned on and all that stuff.
Yes. I figured you knew what you were doing because I certainly do not.
Listen, I put on a good front. But no, it's I think that if we can get back to listening to each other, mm-hmm. and not make the point and argue and push our objectives on each other, you understand people better.
Well, and then you can come to a compromise.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know where the other person's coming from, how are you going to be able to negotiate with them mm-hmm. if you don't know what they really want? So my son, Charles, he's 10. I feel like we are constantly butting heads. Charles has a problem with listening. He wants to talk over us. And at school, he gets glowing reports. He's Gator of the Year pretty much every year. And I was like, son, how did you pull this off? Because you must be a different child at school than you are at home. And he's like, I'm really good at school. And I was like, well, I know that because you wouldn't be getting these awards. I was like, can I just see like a glimpse of that at home, you know? But it's because he doesn't talk over people at school. He knows that it's disrespectful and he doesn't do it at school. And so he has great friends. You know, the teachers love him. They're like, oh, we love bantering, you know, back and forth with Charles because he's very quick wit. Sometimes I catch myself laughing at him. I'm like, that's not funny. That was actually really disrespectful. You need to stop doing that. But it's funny, you know, because for a 10-year-old to be that quick on your feet, I think it's a skill set, you know.
It is.
But he's very determined and he's very smart. And I want to encourage it, but also for him to know, like, when to stop. And that's something that I put in one of my closing, like, a true, like, county commissioner really does need to know when to, like, stop talking. You know, sometimes you have to listen. And that's just a leader in general or a person in general. Sometimes you have to say, it's not about me. Like, this is not about me. And I think Charles hasn't quite figured that part out yet. He wants to make sure that everybody knows where he's coming from. And it's like sometimes, Charles, like it might be about your siblings. It might be about what they need in that moment or what I need in that moment. Like the dishwasher needs to be unloaded. Just because you want to tell me about something that happened during the school day with this new student doesn't mean that should come before one of your chores. And so he's still trying to figure that out. But I think it's going to be a constant battle. And I mean, you know, you're a parent. Like, every child is so different, and we have 4. So you're trying to parent to all of these different personalities. And I think that has and will help, you know, if I get elected, like, being able to communicate and with multiple people at once. Because, you know, when you're in the car, like, there are a lot of voices from the back seat. And if we could get everybody to agree, well, that just does not happen. But you have to be able to know, like, okay, this is somebody I need to pay attention to first. Like, I can come back to them, and then, you know, you have to be able to juggle,
Triage.
if you will. Yeah, exactly.
Triage.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And as a parent, you have to do that, and you have to do it well.
Yeah.
You know, because the needs are great, and the time is little, you know.
We have 1. So
One is still more than none.
It's a little easier than 4.
Yes.
But it's he's 3, so he just turned 3.
So fun.
So we're in that stage where I made the biggest mistake one day, thinking, you know what, we're crushing this parenting thing. You're laughing because you know it's coming.
Yes.
As soon as I said, or I didn't even say I thought it, like I had the thought.
Like,
God
oh, yeah.
put the thought in my head, and I thought, you know what? Me and my wife are crushed this. That day at school, just the wheels came off.
Yeah.
It's just like, seriously?
Yeah. Oh, yes. You think everything's going so smooth, got it all under control.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whoa, I was so wrong.
Yeah. My wife was out of town, and I took him he goes to Cornerstone.
Okay.
And it was just kind of like, I went to drop him off, and he's been good all year about just walking in like we're not even there anymore. Like he just walks in.
Yes.
He walked in and came back, tears in his eyes, didn't want me to leave. And
That's so hard.
I was like, what is happening here?
Yes.
So it was picture day. Do I let him stay?
Oh.
And he says his ear hurts, which it wasn't. And so he's already gotten that part down.
Those ailments. Yes.
Yeah, he's already gotten that part down. So it was just kind of like the wheels fell off. And I'm like, do I make him stay? Because if I do and his ear hurts, I'm a bad dad. Do I take him home? Like, then that's wrong. Or like all this stuff's going on in my head.
Yes.
And I'm thinking just
And you have 2 minutes to make up your mind.
2 minutes. My wife's out of state.
Okay.
So I can't just call her.
Yep.
Or just ask her. So I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And as soon as I had that thought, I thought,
I had it all wrong.
I actually had the thought this morning that I'm crushing it, and here we are, not 5 hours later.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. And every phase is so different too. So, you know, we have an 11-year-old and then we have a 4-year-old. The 11-year-old loves school. She wants to go to school. If I check her out early, she gets mad at me. I was like, oh, like I thought I was doing something like fun. Like I was going to come get you a little bit early so maybe we could go get our nails done. Because if I wait and pick her up at the very end of car line, it's probably 4:30 before I get home. You know, it's just later because that car line for middle school is very long. And so I go from elementary car line to the big car line. So she hates when I check her out. So I try to avoid that if at all possible, unless it's a doctor's appointment that I just have to get her. So, but with the little one, this morning we had the same incident with Philip. Mark has been helping me after, since I got involved in this. I've had a lot more morning meeting, like early morning meetings. So getting ready, I'll make the breakfast and the lunches for all 4 of them. And then he'll take the 3 to school, and then I'll just take the 1, or vice versa, so that it just helps with logistics. But Philip, because I took them this morning, it was a little different than what he's had over the last couple of days, and that triggered him to cry. And it started right before we were about to walk out of the house. And I'm very much I push them to go and do, even if they don't want to. I don't like whining. Like, if you're going to have a conversation with me, like, we're not going to whine about it. Have the conversation. Tell me how you feel about it. And then we can decide what we're going to do. Most of the time, it's my decision. It's not going to be your decision. But I told Philip, I said, there's no reason why you can't go to school today. I have meetings today. Your dad has things that he has to do today. So you're going to school. And, he didn't want to get off the couch and go put his shoes on. And he's 4. Mm-hmm. So he can do those things by himself. And so I had to pick him up off the couch and go and put the shoes on, And I told him, I said, it's time for you, get your lunchbox and your water bottle, put those things in your book bag, zip it up, and we're going to go put it in the car. And so, he's just moping around. Well, then we get into the car, and we're getting in car line, and the line is very long. It's not like, okay, we've addressed it, like we can just drop and roll. No, the car line is long, so I'm in the back. Well, he just starts bawling again. And so I look at Mary Addison, and I look at Charles, and I said, you might have to help me get your brother out of the car this morning. But what I fear is that if I give in to those little, fits, that's going to continue on throughout his elementary school and maybe even into middle school. So I think of it more long term, if I cave in this time, is it going to happen again next week and the week after? And then if I keep doing those things, instead of saying, no, you're going to school and this is how it's going to be, there's no reason for you to stay home, hopefully that will kind of stop, and then it won't happen again, because he'll know those expectations have been set. And, this is not my first rodeo. Lillian did the same thing, Charles did the same thing, and Mary Addison did the same thing. But it wasn't a long period of time, because I kind of set those expectations. Yeah. So that's kind of made it easier too, as number 4 versus number 1.
Right.
So, you're still in the thick of it, learning how you want to address those things. Whereas, it's not my first rodeo, and I'm like, you're going to school. Right. Rascal, the classroom bunny rabbit's in there. You're going to be just fine once you get in,
Yeah, I think that I had the conversation with my wife last week that I know I overthink things and think way too hard about certain things.
Yeah.
Because what you just said, I think about long term and how it affects me saying no now, or what we do now affects him down the road.
Yes.
So I think way too intellectual about that and way too psychological.
Yeah.
Because we just had this 3-year-old appointment last week, and I'm asking the nurse, I'm like, okay, so when it comes to food, and so I'm like, I had issues with food growing up.
Okay.
As I got older, like high school.
Okay.
And so, and it started growing up.
Gotcha.
But, I'm just like,
Were you really picky?
I still am.
Okay.
But no, there's a whole, we don't have time to pull on that thread.
Okay.
But
maybe another time.
Yeah, part 2. We can switch seats.
Okay, sounds good. I love that.
So I was like, I want to make sure that he has a good relationship with food.
Okay, yeah.
Growing up, because I struggle with my weight.
Okay.
And I don't want him to do the same. And so, genetically, we're just not, reeds aren't small.
Okay.
We're 6 foot plus.
Yes.
I'm the biggest one in my family. Dad was in good shape, but I struggle with my weight.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking down the road with him.
Right. Well, every decision that you make, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, that starts now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our children look malnourished. I don't know why. They eat all day long, but they're just super thin. I told Charles he wants to play football. I said, I don't know the boy he'll eat a steak, but he's just pencil thin. And I'm like, you need to eat beanie weenies. We need to get some protein shakes, like because I'm worried that he's going to get hurt being the size that he just hasn't developed yet, like some of the other. And boys grow very differently than girls, you know? And so I just try to encourage him to eat as much as he can and to eat healthy. So we've had to set boundaries. You know, Philip right now, he only wants to eat hot dog weenies. And they can't be grilled. They have to be in the microwave. And so he's extremely picky.
See, I eat hot dogs out of the wrapper.
Really?
I do.
I've never heard that before.
Just open the wrapper and eat them.
Wow.
I mean, I'll grill them.
Yes.
As picky as I am on food, though, like there are some crazy things
I've
that
never
I'll do.
heard anyone.
Really?
Yes. No. Never.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I eat
I
that.
wonder if I try that if he'll eat it. I'll have to try it and see.
I eat those more than I grill them.
Okay. Well, it's easy, right?
It's just easy.
Snack.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So as picky as I am, I will eat some crazy things. Like me and my wife had this whole thing during COVID because we were like, I said, get me some cream of chicken soup. She goes, what are you cooking? I said, I'm not.
Do you just eat cream of chicken?
Cream of chicken soup
Okay.
and crackers
Okay. Yeah.
and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my sick meal.
Oh, your sick meal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
Well, and I would eat it plain anyway. Like I just like cream of chicken soup, water and milk, and crackers, and I'm good.
Okay.
And then here's the kick of
That's very interesting.
See, she's like, you don't eat that. You cook with it. I'm like, are
I
you
put it
kidding?
in a casserole, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then here's the one that gets people a lot. It's the banana sandwich.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Banana, peanut butter, and mayonnaise.
Oh, and mayonnaise.
So all of them. But
You've got some quirky eating.
I do.
Yes.
I do, but it's like I'm picky. Like I don't eat salads because they
I don't eat salad either.
They taste like the ground.
Yes.
And so I'm very picky on what I eat.
That's funny.
And it's
I just tell Mark, like, I'm not a rabbit, so I'm not going to eat lettuce. I don't like lettuce. I don't like tomato. Well, I like tomato sauce, but I don't like tomatoes. Like just fresh.
I like ketchup.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
But we like with the kids, Mark is really big on like dessert. I grew up, we'd have dessert whenever we wanted. And so we have really had to like set boundaries with the kids. Like you can't get the half gallon of ice cream out every night. That's a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, that's when we'll get the ice cream out. Because I don't want them to think that it's like normal to just like go to a restaurant in the middle of the week on a Wednesday and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have an appetizer, a meal, and a dessert. Like that's not normal. And you want to set them up for success long term. So like if you continuously give them dessert like all week long, it's not really a treat at that point. It's not really a special thing, you know, that you can like reward or incentivize them with. Yeah. So I just try to set those boundaries and be like, Mark, like, do you really think it's healthy for them to have ice cream every single day of the week, or is that something we should just like set for the weekend? And so we've made some changes, but I think like throughout their lives, like you go through phases, and you know it's like okay, maybe like they're on spring break, so we can just do some things a little different. But you just learn as you go, and it's winging it. Like I tell my mother-in-law, like, you don't get a playbook of hey, this is how you parent. You know, it's just you're winging it.
There's a lot of books out there.
Yes,
But
who are you going to listen to?
they're not. They have different opinions.
They do.
And they didn't raise your kid.
Right.
And with your values.
Right.
And all those different variables play into it.
And how you were raised, how your husband, you know. Like,
yeah. So do you want to pull this from how you were raised, not doing this and pulling that? And it's just, then there's the other side, right? It's there's a lot that if you really sit down and talk about it and think about it, it's like, I need a break.
I hope I'm setting my children up for success long term.
My kids are going to be crazy.
Based on the
because
decisions.
I'm crazy. Because, right? Yeah. It's,
you look at your spouse and you're like, they're just like you. We do that all the time. They're just like you. Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh my gosh, how do people work with that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you communicate? And I tell people, Lillian and I's relationship has gotten so much better. And I've prayed so hard about our relationship because she's going into her teen years. You know, and I was so afraid because if you just flash back 3 years ago, we were butting heads constantly over what she was wearing, over the activities she was participating in, the girls she was hanging around, you know, just a variety of things. And every phase is different. I know I'll keep going back to that because you have to adjust and adapt. But right now, she is
Yeah.
she's amazing. And we have a great communication. I feel like she tells me about everything. I'm pretty confident that she does. I know that might change in time. Again, that'll be a different phase. But I'm trying to cultivate that open relationship so that she will want to come to me and say, hey, this is what's going on. Like, how do I navigate this, or how do I address it? And so just with all of them, I try to do that. You know, sometimes it might have to wait until after the dishes, but at the same time, like you're juggling and you're just trying to do the best you can in the moment and making those decisions for them.
Home is a safe space.
It is.
And
it should be.
And they need to feel safe to talk about anything. And that's what we're trying to do too.
Yeah.
Or that's what we want to do. So yeah, it's a learning curve.
It is.
You learn a lot.
Yeah.
About you and them.
Yes, absolutely. And you grow.
You do.
Going back to the relationships, even with adults, like your children are teaching you a lot too, and they're helping you grow.
Listen, I was having this conversation the other day. I'm a much better negotiator in business because of having a kid.
Yes.
Like, my negotiating skills have gotten really good
Oh, yes, I believe that.
because I negotiate with a 3-year-old daily,
All day.
all day.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I believe that.
it's funny how life skills kind of coalesce like that.
Yeah, you can learn from any situation.
100%.
Yeah.
What do they think about you running for office? Are they aware of it?
Oh, absolutely. It has, I wouldn't say significantly changed, like, the dynamic at the house, but before it was, like, all about them and where they needed to be and go and what they needed to do, and my life kind of revolved around that, you know. So it's been a little bit of a different shift. You know, I have a lunch meeting or a breakfast meeting that I have to get ready for, or, you know, we've had these forums in the evenings, and they're used to having me at home cooking dinner or taking them to their activities. So the scheduling has been a little different. I try to do most things during the day, if at all possible, while they're at school, because I do want to make sure that I'm there to pick them up. But, you know, Charles was like, well, what do you have on your calendar for today, Mom? You know, and so I told him I was coming here and then, you know, having lunch and, you know, the expectations of going to knock on doors and what that looks like. And they're like, you know, we don't trick or treat. I don't like trick or treating. My husband will take them to my brother-in-law's neighborhood. But, you know, that's not something that I would normally or naturally do. So they're aware of little changes and how that impacts them is like dinner time, you know, with the forums. And then just me looking more presentable when I walk out the door to take them to school versus, you know, being in sweats, dropping them off in car line, you know. So, yes, they're very much aware.
They're aware of the changes, but are they aware of the responsibility that you would have, like the position? Like, have you explained that to them yet in a way that obviously they could understand?
I think a little bit. County commissioner is very broad, you know, so I've had conversations with them, but I try not to like make that like the main focus when I'm with them.
Sure.
You know, I try to make it more about like, hey, how was your day? What are you doing at school? Charles got a new student at school. Lillian has this like bound ball tournament coming up. And so, you know, the dinner conversation is lively and it's mostly just around like them and what they're doing, or, you know, my husband and I trying to just talk about what we're planning to do. Like, we're going on a trip soon, so, you know, we need to get ready for that, and what does that look like? And then I try to focus on them, and then do the calendar with my husband, after they go to bed.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of keep it a little bit separate and as much as normal as possible. So,
normal as possible.
Is it? Is it possible?
It's not normal in a normal day, much less throwing this into the mix.
Yes. Well, I think tax season was really hard. We always, you know, we're both CPAs. So when we...
Oh, is he?
Yes, my husband's also a CPA. So we have the firm together. And,
that's good.
We work together.
How does that go?
We love it.
Do you?
We're so used to it now that I think he's really missing me. You know, he's like,
that's sweet.
It is. And I love that. You know, I mean, you want your spouse to like miss you and want you to be around. It has added a little bit.
Hear that? No, well, she don't watch it anyway. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, if you've been doing it for 13 years, you know, you don't know any different. It was very difficult at first, but once you and we started the firm when we were engaged. So we dated for a year, we were engaged for a year. So, we didn't have a long engagement or a long dating. So you have to really learn when to stop pressing. And we're very similar in that we're both very A-type, and I wouldn't say controlling, but direct. So learning how to communicate with somebody that's very similar to you and learning when to stop and when to take space, that's important. And so we've learned that, and now we've adjusted, and it's our normal, and we wouldn't want it any other way. It just took time to get there. So, but yes, he misses me.
So my wife is 8 years younger than me. I met her when I was 40.
Okay.
So we just met just a few years ago, and our 5-year anniversary is Friday. So
congratulations.
2 days from now.
That's exciting.
So,
do you have any big plans?
I think we're going to Alpharetta.
Okay.
We're very fond of the Avalon.
Okay.
So
all right.
we like the Avalon.
I hope y'all have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's
Do you have
fun.
someone to watch your son?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And so both of our parents are here.
Oh, great.
So that helps. That helps.
You're spoiled.
Very.
Yes.
And he would rather be at one of their houses than ours. So, no, we have a lot of help.
Yes.
And so we're gonna go there.
To be thankful for.
And the bad thing is, last week or over the weekend, I was like, "Hey, have you found? Is the dogs going to your sister's?" She goes, "I always forget about the dogs."
They're like kids
because they were
Members of the
the
family.
priority.
Yes.
And then Jameson came along, and it's like, "Oh yeah, we have dogs.
Yes.
We got to find some place for them to go."
Yes, I know. I just did the boarding for our dog because we've got a couple of trips this summer, and I forgot about Walty.
Yeah.
How could I forget about Walty? You know? So thankfully, we have people that'll come and get the chicken eggs. My grandmother, she's 82. She's so great. She loves the eggs, and so she'll come and get them. But I forgot about the dog, and so I was able to get that scheduled. Thankfully, they had room still.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's always the dogs. That's right.
Yeah.
We have 2 dogs, 12 and 10. So it's like they can't, had them for a while.
Oh yeah, don't forget about them.
Don't forget about them. Of course, they feel the same way. They're like, dude, hello.
Right? You have to make sure you add them at the bottom of your checklist, or maybe at the top. That
Yeah,
way.
and I always feel bad because I know that they don't have the attention anymore like they used to.
Right.
Because the golden was hers.
Okay.
Before we met, and so then we brought
His
in.
best friend.
Then we brought in my grandmother's dog when she passed.
Okay. Wow.
So this Dotson came along with our golden, and I can just hear his thoughts. It's like, first of all, you didn't ask me to bring her in the house. Now you brought this hairless puppy in the house
Yeah.
who gets all the attention.
Yep.
What about Rowdy?
Yes.
Right?
And then your son. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm sure your son loves the animals.
Oh, yeah. He loves dogs.
Yeah.
He
My
loves-
kids are the same way.
He loves dogs and trucks.
Sounds about right for a 3-year-old boy. Yep.
Dogs and trucks. Paw Patrol. We're in that space.
Philip likes Paw Patrol.
Everything in our house. He has his own. This makes me sound very bad. He has his own truck room. First of all, we have a basement and 2 stories.
Okay.
He has his own truck room,
Lucky boy.
and there's trucks all over the basement and the middle floor. He's just taking over the house.
That's what kids do. They take over every space.
But
you just
stop.
have to get baskets.
Stop. We do. Stop giving him toys.
Yeah. Well,
But like I said,
you can't help it.
both grandparents live there.
Yeah. Birthdays, Christmas, just because.
He got more for his birthday than he did for Christmas.
I believe it.
I was like, dude.
I feel like my kids are the same way. But
And he's only 1. So,
yeah,
we're going to have to put us
you
okay,
can teach them how to donate things though.
we are.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
go through and kind of cull the trucks that he doesn't play with, and then say these are toys that we can give. Like Cornerstone might take some, and then
So right now
donation.
we do. The name is escaping me, but consignment.
Oh yeah,
There's a consignment store in Peachtree, and we did the same one in Dunwoody.
yes,
It's like once a quarter, once every fall and spring.
yep,
So we donate clothes and do all that stuff, and
yep.
which we kind of do a wash on what we sell and what we buy, or what she sells and buys.
That's fantastic.
So we've kind of clothed him in what we get from there, and it's a great.
Absolutely.
a great place. But I want to start, when he gets a little older, to start playing, okay, so we're going to start giving these toys away
Yes.
to kids that don't have a lot of toys, because clearly, kid, you have a lot. We need to start sharing.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're going to do
It's
that.
hard though, because you never know. Like every week, I feel like the favorite toy changes. So right now I'm hunting for this special transformer that was made probably 10 years ago. So I'm going to have to go on eBay and just hunt for this specific transformer because my nephew has it at his lake house. And Philip, every time we go, that is the toy he wants to play with. But it changes. So like you could get rid of a toy and then they could be asking about it the next week. So I just put it in the garage in a box for like 2 months before I take it off. They don't ask about it, it's gone.
So my sister-in-law got him, and I skipped this part of the childhood shows. She got him hooked on Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh, I don't think I've
Have
seen
you heard of that one?
No.
It's in the 90s. So it's very
Okay.
90s. It's very animatronic. It's very, very 90s.
I'm going to have to look it up.
It's a big, it's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's a dancing bear with a bunch of puppeteers and a bunch of puppet animals. It's cute.
Okay.
But he loves it. And so we got him a dancing bear and a Halloween costume as Bear. Well, when we got the Halloween costume, it was way too big. So we just got a carpet bear that's around the house. When we gave away the dancing bear, we did it on the consignment sale.
Yes.
And I told my wife, I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't play with it no more. I was like, okay. What did he do as soon as we sold it?
Ask for it.
Where's Bear?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Hey, kid, look over here. Jameson, look over here. Look over here.
Look at all these other toys that you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's
happened a time or two in our house. But, it is what it is.
it is.
They have so many things. They're spoiled and want for nothing. So just find something else to play with.
Yeah.
Go play with some dirt outside, sticks. Go build a fort.
Go be a kid.
Exactly. Go play in the creek, something.
Do your kids like slides in playgrounds?
They do.
Yeah.
But I don't eat a lot of fast food. So, like, taking them to, like, Burger King.
Okay.
Which is, like, the...
Sorry, I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, did she misunderstand me? But now I get what you're saying.
big playgrounds, like, at Burger King.
Oh, yeah, he loves
They
that
do
one.
those things when I'm
loves-
at these forums,
Yeah.
which I have no problem with because I don't like a lot of fast food. And playgrounds give me anxiety because stranger danger. I can't see them in these little tiny tunnels that they're going through. And I'm like, what other people are in those tunnels? The germs that you're bringing home. The kids constantly, I feel like they're touching their face or putting their fingers in their mouths. And I'm like, everybody's going to get sick in our household. And I mean, going back, like if somebody brings their sick kid to school, it might be just like a couple of days for someone with one child. It's 4 weeks for someone with 4 kids because it goes from one child to the next child, to the next, to the next. And then it probably, Mark and I too, somewhere along there, somewhere along the line. And so going through those little tiny tunnels, I'm thinking, how much laundry am I going to have to do because of this? How many dishes or bowls am I going to have to wash? Because it really, when you're a mom, that's what you think about, But no, I'm thankful. My husband, he's so good to the kids. He will take them to play on the playground at Burger King when I have other obligations.
We have one at church.
Okay.
So my wife shows up because I serve both services.
Okay.
I'm video director at Southside. So she comes and brings him for the 9:15 service. She serves in Wambaland, which is the kids.
Wambaland. I like that.
And so in between, we take him outside of the playground.
And he loves it.
Oh my gosh. Like when he was even like just walking, he didn't want to go on the small playground. He wanted to go to the big one.
Of course. It looks so much more dangerous.
It does.
That's what they always gravitate towards.
It does. And I was like, and the thing is, like, I felt bad for a little bit when a bigger kid pushed him down. I wanted to throat punch a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Well, you want to protect your kids.
100%. I was like, I will hurt you.
But it's a learning opportunity for your son,
And for me.
Bigger kids on the playground.
Right.
You have to watch out for those kids.
Right. And for me.
Yeah. Oh,
But
absolutely.
Control.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it's because I'm
and then you're like, where are your parents?
and I knew his parents.
Oh, yeah.
I knew his parents. I didn't care. I'd have kicked him.
Papa Bear.
Yeah. So I'm the guy who has a heart, and we'll get into the commissioner side in a minute, but
Okay.
we just kind of been talking about family.
Yeah. Well,
I hate going to these big public places. Every year on his birthday, it's become a tradition to take him to the aquarium.
okay.
Which
I bet he loves that.
he does. He loves it.
That's a good place to go.
And Mom loves it.
It's really nice.
But Dad is walking behind looking.
Oh,
everywhere.
absolutely.
And last fall, which September 12th, I believe it was, and I know the date because it was 2 days after Charlie Kirk had been shot. He had his first airplane ride. So we're walking through Atlanta Airport.
It's hard.
And my radar is up.
Oh, yes.
Not that anybody's targeting us, but it's like
You have to pay attention to
the world's
everything.
crazy, and
Yes.
it's become more heightened, right?
Absolutely.
And so, like, my mind, my eyes were just like I was miserable the whole time in the airport.
You can't relax. As a parent, you
can't.
can't relax. I had my Bloom and Mingle event the other day at Griffin House, and I was talking to another mom, and the way that parents view things, like, just even where you park, like the situations you put yourself in, you pay attention to things so much more when you have little ones with you. Like when we go to Andrew Bailey Ball Field, I can't park on the road because I have 4 children getting out of the car, and people fly on Andrew Bailey, So your perspective changes so much. When we go and get ready for a trip where we're going to fly with the kids, I have severe anxiety in large, public, crowded places because I don't mean to be like a Debbie Downer, but you really do have to pay attention to everyone around you and your children, and I just tell them, if I can't touch you, that's the problem. You're too far, because you want to make sure that you can react quickly in the event somebody's running through the airport and you don't want them to trample your child.
Right.
I mean, even little things like that, or making sure everybody has their book bags and their luggage or their carry-ons, you have to be so observant and you can't relax.
And that's from people who don't mean anything by it.
Right.
Then you have people with just random attacks.
Right.
And
Yeah.
not just you having kids, but you're also a woman.
Yes.
So, which is different too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Go into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Anywhere we go, I tell people, my children, I think that they want to see the restroom at places. And so we're constantly, wherever we go, I feel like I'm going to the restroom there. But I never let them go by themselves.
Right.
Even my son, he's like, well, when are you going to let me go into the men's restroom? As a 10-year-old, and I understand a lot of people choose to let their 10-year-olds go into the men's restroom alone. I'm not there yet. I'm not comfortable with that yet. And so I said, when I feel like I'm comfortable with it, then you can go. Until then, I will stand at the door and hold the door open and make sure that other women and with their children know that you're going to the restroom and the reason why you're in there as a 10-year-old, because I don't want to make them uncomfortable. So I just stand at the door and hold it open.
Yeah.
Because I'm not comfortable with you going into a restroom behind a closed door where I don't know who's in there.
Right.
Just how I am.
Well, that's a big reason why I made sure that I told my wife that we're big football fans, and I've got a firm no soccer rule.
No soccer.
Because I will sit there and be bored for however long those games are. Reeds aren't runners. So running up and down a field is stupid. So I was like,
I played soccer, right?
awesome. Awesome.
It's okay. It doesn't bother me. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just not your thing, which is okay.
Because I don't understand it. Right. So I say, I hope he plays football.
Of course.
I want him to play football,
Yeah.
baseball, basketball, all the things.
Just not soccer. You know what's going to happen?
He's going to play soccer.
He's going to want to play soccer, and he's going to be so good at it that he's going to start wanting to play travel soccer. And then you're going to have to drive 2 hours to a game, just one way, and then back, and then spend your whole weekend there watching soccer.
Right. If I'm sitting there at a soccer field watching soccer, he better be playing. If he's sitting there on the bench the whole time, No.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to coach.
That is, I'm calling Dakota. You can come coach. That's what I'm doing.
No, because as a parent, you're like naturally want to support and encourage, right? You're like,
that's what I'm afraid of.
I know nothing about basketball, but I told Charles, I was like, I love watching basketball, but it is really intense. He loves it. It gives me like, I'm like, I need to calm down. I need to go take a walk.
Yeah.
But I told him, I was like, if you don't get the right coach, I'm going to be coaching you.
I know.
I mean, I hate it for the other boys on the team because I'm going to be making y'all run suicides all practice because they always look so tired. I'm like, you're not running enough, during practice to get in shape for these games. So, I mean, you can shoot, but the stamina and being able to like last the whole game is where it really is going to matter.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah. But no, so I told him, I said, if he doesn't want to play, I'm not going to make him play. If he starts, he's going to finish. But
right.
He doesn't have to
finish the season.
Right. He doesn't have to play.
Yes.
The one thing that I will make him do as soon as he's old enough in the beginning is jiu-jitsu.
Okay. Did you do that?
No, not when I was a kid.
Okay.
I wish I had taken a martial arts as a kid.
Yes.
I started here recently. A few years ago.
Very fun.
And one of my clients and good friends, Tim Stout, he owns Independent. So they have a kids class. So I want him to learn that because of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
But outside of
better be prepared than not.
And again, like I want him to start that and he can go as long as he wants to. Yeah. But we're going to get started.
Yeah. But you have the ability to sign them up for things and let them try things that they might not pick for themselves. And I think that that's a good thing. You want them to be well-rounded and you want to give them the opportunity. Yeah. Even if it's like, hey, I don't really like this. Okay, you tried it. We can check that off and say, hey, or we can come back to it, down the road. But at least they had the opportunity and the experience to try it.
He needs to find something to be involved in.
He's still little, though.
Oh, again, down the road.
Yes.
But just hanging out the house.
You can still think about it.
And the friends, we're going to be involved.
Yes.
Something.
Yes. If you plan to have any more children, though, maybe we don't want you involved in everything.
Yes.
Because our schedule right now with 4, and I've been a huge advocate, like, you want to try that club, please do. I want you to try it. Because if you're putting yourself out there and trying something new, I think that sets them up for success long term. Just kind of like what I'm doing. Just jumping into something that, see if you like it, see if you're good at it, see if it's something that you think you might want to continue doing. And so I try to do that for them. Just not being afraid to try something because what the saying is, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
I don't want to have the regret, and I don't want them to have the regret of, oh, I could have done it, but I didn't even try,
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel that way on from me.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of signing up, you signed up to do something.
I did. I did. Jumped right in, didn't I?
You did.
How it all started. Well, let me go back. So I recently did a career day at the kids' school. And, you go around the room and you ask all of these children. So I did, it would have been last year. So 3rd graders and 1st graders. What do you want to be when you grow up? County commissioner was not one of those things that they threw out there, right? It was NBA player, NFL player, race car driver, doctor, nurse, teacher, all of the things that you would expect to hear. I was there telling them about being a CPA, and I'm pretty sure that they all were like, absolutely don't want to do that. Who wants to do math like all day? It's a little different than doing math all day, but, they want to help people or make a difference or be in the spotlight, and so I thought about all of those things. And, even in my closing or my intro at these forums, you think about who you're going to impact and what you're going to do and how you're going to serve. And as county commissioner, it's a very broad role, but you're helping people, you're representing people, you're serving, you're doing a lot and making a big impact in a lot of different people's lives. And so when I decided to, I guess, sign up, if you will, or qualify. My husband had sent me the article that Bob was not going to seek reelection. And previously, there were some barriers to entry. I mean, Philip's just now getting into school. So some were personal, some had to do with the Coweta Republican Party and, how that was being ran at the time. But we had always been interested and paid attention to things that were happening. And, we kind of said, oh, well, maybe one day we'll run against, Bob if, or when he doesn't want to run, step up. And so Mark forwarded me the article that Bob was not going to seek reelection. And I was like, Mark, I think this might be something that I want to do, but I'm going to pray about it because you never know. Like, sometimes things are put in your path for a reason, and sometimes it's not the right time. And you have to know and pray and have a peace about the decisions that you make. You don't want to just like barrel forward, if it's not.
That never works out.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And sometimes I'm stubborn and I just go right for it. Like I said, I march to the beat of my own drum. Sometimes I just throw myself in, literally dive in head first. But with this, it's not something that just kind of came up overnight. I do feel like there were things that led up to this, and it was just a natural next step, if you will. Like, I like serving. I like being involved. This role, the time that it takes, the decisions that are made, the community that we live in. I mean, there are a lot of perspectives that you can take when you just like jump in and sign up for something like this. And so I thought that I would be a really good candidate for District 3. And if you look at the current Board of Commissioners, there is no one my age. I'm 35. There's no one with 4 children. I represent a different perspective than what is currently being represented on the Board of Commissioners. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm thankful that they decided to step up and serve when they did because the timing was right for them, and that was their personal decision. It was just, why not me? Why not me? And is this going to be possible in the phase of life that we're in, with my kids and my husband and my career? And so I went and I qualified. And I have had unexpected support, which I get emotional about it because, when you step into this, you don't really know what it looks like. You really don't. Like, I've never done anything like this. I told you when we first met, like, I'm not attention seeking. I don't put myself in the spotlight. I tell Mark at work, I'm like, I just want to be in the back office working. I don't need to be client facing. I don't need everybody to know who I am or my name. This is very different than that. But I wanted to serve in this way. And so over the last, I guess, year and a half, I've looked for ways that I could serve. I started serving with CASA first. I still do CASA. I layered on serving with middle school girls at our church and doing Wednesday night serving with them and leading their small group until tax season started, which, that working more full-time, that had to kind of come off the calendar for a little while. But I was looking for ways that I could make a meaningful difference in other people's lives. And why not me? Why can't I be the one to step up and do those things, and serve in this way?
Yeah.
So I did. I threw my name out there, and here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So it's good that you said that because from what you just said and how I hear that, that's not how it's been portrayed over the past few months of you running. Because it's been portrayed that he retired and you just willy-nilly just, I'll run, right?
Yeah.
That's not how it is. Like, you've been thinking about this for a while.
Yeah. Well,
You've been wanting to serve.
Yes.
And you've looked at this seat for a while.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of interactions with Bob. We've had to call him about various things. We live in District 3. I've had to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z, or have you seen X, Y, and Z? How are we going to address that? So it's not like a overnight. And I think it's because I'm not public about it. I mean, I literally just got Facebook after I qualified. Nina said, well, you have to get a Facebook page. I was like, oh, really? Like, I'm just,
Yeah.
I think people mistake, like quiet or not attention seeking as like nonchalant or like not caring or not being involved. And that could not be further from the truth. There are people in our community that you might not know who they are or know their name, but they are moving and they know a lot of people and they have a lot of influence and they serve in a way that fits their lifestyle.
Right. And personality.
And personality, exactly. Just because you don't know who they are doesn't mean that they're not serving in the way that they think is important. Everyone chooses to live their lives very differently, and Mark and I just chose a very private life, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that I didn't care, that I wasn't involved. I was just doing it privately and quietly. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
We all serve in our own way.
Yes.
That works with our personality and our life.
Yeah.
And, the way I see county commissioner is it is public facing, but you don't hear about them a lot unless
There's something big.
Right.
Right.
So they're kind of working behind the scenes anyway, unless there's
Yeah. It
a data
influences
center.
a lot of things, like the roads we drive on. County commissioners influence that. Where that building is going, the zoning for that building. County commissioners.
Yeah.
Are you unhappy about something that's going on? Probably came across the county commissioner's desk, And so when you ask people, I don't think a lot of people realize that.
They don't. I mean, if you ask my wife, first of all, she can't tell you what's going on in the country, much less.
But her priorities are somewhere else, and that's
right.
okay.
Well, and that's what I was getting at. Like a lot of people, I would think, like it's not in my world because I pay attention to this world, but a lot of people aren't political.
Yeah.
So they just, if it affects the budget, if it affects their house, that's all they care about.
Right.
And so the layers that it takes to get down to the county commissioner from federal, state, local,
Yeah.
is many different layers. So you don't think about it,
So you get your property tax bill.
There's that. There's that. Yeah.
That's when most people are like, oh my goodness, what happened? Or, oh, my property values, my assessed value has increased, which county commissioners don't do assessed value. So, but those are things that people will pay attention to. Right. And that's, some people don't have the capacity, but it matters who you vote for. And paying attention to who you vote for is important because they're going to be representing you even when you're not paying attention. And when you're not looking, what decisions are they making that are going to impact you? You need to make sure you know who you're voting for and who they are,
Who they are matters. Who they are as a person, who they are as a leader.
Yes.
Their background matters because you want people to, if you're electing, in my opinion, if you're electing somebody to represent you, they got to share your values.
Absolutely.
And be relatable to you. Okay, so this person's like me. So like they'll vote most of the time in my interest.
Right.
That's what I want to vote for.
Right.
That's what it comes down to me.
Yeah. Or you could pick up the phone and call them and have a civil conversation. And a conversation where you feel like you're being heard.
Being heard.
Who is going to be that person for you? And every individual voter has to make that decision for their family and for themselves.
Yeah. This is a leadership podcast. Well, mostly. It's in the title. What leadership qualities do you think best represents a county commissioner or a leader in general? Because I have mine, so I want to hear yours.
I think someone that's not afraid to do the right thing, even if it goes against everyone else. Someone that stands firm on their own 2 feet, with integrity, with compassion. Someone that will listen. I think, we've had these conversations before. Like, someone that is in a leadership position has to be able to communicate with all types of people, all walks of life, all backgrounds, because county commissioners represent various districts, and those districts make up all different types of people. And if you cannot communicate with those people, then you will fail them. So I think, the commissioner board is 5 people, and you need 3 to approve something. So the person that you elect has to get along with the other commissioners, one, to even have the conversation, to be able to approach a conversation in a way that, one, you're going to end up with compromise or a very good solution to solve a problem. And so, when I think about stepping into that role, you forming relationships with the other district commissioners, I think that the relationship building is going to be extremely important. Communication is going to be extremely important, and being willing to have the conversation so that you can figure out if there is going to be a compromise that can be made, or how you're going to best serve District 3, your district, based off of all of these other different perspectives. Yeah. So as a leader, you have to go in open-minded with a true understanding of, you're not going to agree with everyone, but how can you come to a decision and a compromise that's going to best represent the people that you represent without giving away everything, or giving too much or taking too much. I mean, there's a balance. That's
a very detailed and a better explanation than what I would have said.
I appreciate that. I'm speaking from the heart here. So,
yes. Yeah. Well, no, because what you just described was my 3 words. It's character and integrity, and you have to be a servant leader. And that's what you said. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You serve people.
Yeah,
you're serving,
absolutely.
You're serving the people that will elect you.
Well, you're representing them. Absolutely. And you have to be willing to listen to them so that you know how to vote or make a decision that's going to represent them well. It's not about me. Yeah. It's not about me. Getting to know me is important, and knowing where I stand personally, yes, I agree those things are important. But at the end of the day, every decision that's made is going to be a representation of District 3 and the best interest of for District 3. So that's how I view the position.
So you mentioned the forum, and what I like to do is, because those events are timed, and you've got to get a short amount of or a lot of information down to a
30-second clip.
30-second clip.
Yes.
I want to go over some of the questions that were asked in both forums.
Okay.
And kind of the same topics. And you can expand a little bit so that people can know where you stand.
Okay.
So, because it's a little different than what I normally do, because normally it's just a conversation. So now I actually have questions.
Okay, all right. Jumping right in.
So, at one forum, you dropped a number that I've thought about a lot.
Okay.
And you said residential properties cost the county $1.20 for every dollar that they generate. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, $1.27, I think is.
Yes. Okay. But while commercial only costs 27 cents.
Yes.
Walk me through that math like I'm a homeowner who's never heard it before.
Okay.
And wouldn't understand it because I really don't.
Okay. So everyone has access to the same study that I have access to. The Coweta Development Authority and the county had Georgia Tech step in and look at cost of service analysis, meaning all of the public services that are offered for a residential property. So let me back up a little bit. The budget is 42% property tax. Of that 42% of the general fund budget, 70% is residential. 69 to 70% comes from residential properties. So for every dollar that a residential property brings into the county, it costs the county $1.27 to provide those public services to that residential property. Whereas a commercial property is significantly less. Agriculture is 22 cents, commercial is 27 cents. So you need a balance of commercial, agricultural, industrial to help offset those services that are being provided to residential properties. And I think that's something to point out because, a lot of people don't complain about new residential coming in. Sometimes you do. some complaints. But I think it's important to note that when county commissioners are rezoning or making decisions about large residential neighborhoods coming in, they have to keep in mind the public service cost and the impact of those things, because that impacts your budget significantly. If you need another fire truck or another ambulance or additional police officers, the allocation of the budget matters for those residential properties. Whereas if you are adding another commercial property, and I want to be clear, in the right zoning, like I don't think we should do leapfrog zoning or, random zoning that is not following the comprehensive plan. But when you're looking at making those decisions, how is it going to impact your budget? And so that I thought was really important to point out, because we need to have balanced growth. And when I mean balanced, it's when you bring in a residential property, you might have to bring in several commercial properties or make sure that several things are being agriculture or industrial to help offset the cost for those residential properties.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought that point up, because I don't think the other two candidates were looking at that as heavily as I was. Every decision that a county commissioner makes impacts residents. So are they making the best decisions to make sure that the quality of life, because I would say making sure you have a safe community, public safety, those decisions, every decision impacts another line item on the budget in a way that people might not be paying attention to, but county commissioners are.
That makes sense. I would think that with your experience as a CPA, that weighs heavily into this, right?
It does. It does. And one of the reasons and things I was looking at when I decided to join or to qualify was
To sign up.
to sign up, throw my name in there, yes. And same thing when I started with CASA, like, am I going to be enough? Like, are my qualifications and my background going to be enough to prepare me to take something like this on? And I think the answer is yes. I worked really hard to get my CPA. I know some other people think I bring it up too much, but the budget is such a large portion of what county commissioners do, and it impacts all of the residents so significantly. I mean, the county commissioners set a millage rate, which impacts your property taxes. It impacts everyone. The decisions that they make impact everyone. So if they're not paying attention to the right things or analyzing things a certain way, being a financial background, I think would really help making sure someone is paying attention to those things that has professional qualifications to do so. And I'm not saying that other people aren't qualified. I think someone needs to be well-rounded.
Experience matters.
Experience does matter, but that experience, it doesn't mean just because you're older.
No, it means experience with numbers and
Experience with numbers.
and how to do financials.
Yes.
Like that matters.
Oh, absolutely. And all of your experience counts, because you're representing people that are like you, people that aren't like you, people that may or may not make decisions like you in their own personal financials. And that's where it goes back to listening. Like, just because you might make decisions differently in your household than I do, it doesn't mean that we're not doing it the same way. There are several paths that you can take to get to the same solution or to get to a solution. But is the person you vote for going to listen to you and represent you and be paying attention to what you're saying?
Yeah.
And I think that all of my experience is going to, or has prepared me to take on something like this.
Yeah. I agree. If most voters don't know the math, whose job is it? Whose job has it been to explain it? And what does it actually mean for the property taxes a Coweta family pays every year?
So I think the 441 podcast, I listened to several of those. Michael Fouts hosts those. He's the county administrator. I would say start there. If someone doesn't know how decisions are being made, come to a county commissioner meeting. And if you don't have enough time to come to every single one, listen to a couple of those podcasts that Michael Fouts does with various people in different departments across the county. Very helpful in understanding what each role is, how they make decisions, what they're paying attention to. You have to be willing to take the time.
Yeah.
The information is out there. It's just, are you willing to take the time to read it or to listen to it or to talk, to have a conversation? So, and not everyone does, but it matters who you vote for. It goes back to making sure you vote for the person that's going to represent you well and make decisions that are most closely aligned with how you would make decisions. And that way you don't have to look at every single thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. A big one that I think everybody has an opinion on except for me.
Okay.
Project sale.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I see both sides.
Okay.
So I haven't really come to an opinion on for or against.
Okay.
So I do see both sides of it, and I need to learn more before I can. So the project sale is a $17 billion data center, which is an issue across the country.
Right.
In
Everywhere.
everywhere. It just went down, or it got approved, right?
It did.
3-2.
Yeah.
800 acres were rezoned. And you said that the county moved too quickly without fully understanding the long-term impacts.
Right.
What would slowing down have actually looked like?
With it being such a hot topic across the entire United States, even in international, where are these going to go? How does that impact Coweta County? Slowing down and understanding how it's impacting other states and really doing more research all the way down to how it's going to impact an individual family, I think would be more helpful. And right now we just don't have that information. Like, I don't know if our commissioners contacted other counties and said, hey, what does that revenue actually look like for your county? Did they make that? Did they do that? Did they have those conversations? Did they do that research? I know they went and visited a data center. I know they established an ordinance and they put a moratorium on them for a period of time. And they said the ordinance is very strict. But with electricity rates being frozen right now, we're not going to know for several years. And I mean, it takes 10 years to build out a data center. We're not going to know for several years how that's going to impact the individual household. And I've seen 240% spikes in household electricity bills. There are so many people that cannot afford electricity as it is. So when you talk about that significant of an increase, and it'll be a surprise, because if it's frozen for a period of time and it suddenly jumps, there's no way for people to plan or prepare for those decisions and how they're going to include that in their budget. So I would like to be very clear. I would not have voted for Project Sale. Certainly not in the rural conservation location. I feel horrible for the families that have been impacted that are surrounding that area, because when you make a decision to move somewhere and that land is rural conservation and you have that expectation that your property values and your home is going to be protected and it's going to remain in that character, and someone makes a decision that impacts that property value significantly and the area that you live significantly, that's a major household overhaul, change. I mean, my goodness, where you live, it should be peaceful, right? I mean, we talked about that. Your home should be a safe space. And when you have that much construction going off for a period of 10 years, not just on that land, but on the roadway, I think it could have been done differently.
Yeah.
Even done differently in the fact that there were people that wanted to be in those meetings, that there was no extra room for them to be in there. And if it's impacting you, you should have a seat at the table. You should be in that room. You should be able to hear those conversations and be able to listen to what they're deciding and voting on. So I don't think it would have hurt us to put a pause on that. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, until we know what the long-term impacts, wildlife, environmental, wildlife, water, household electricity bills. There are so many unknowns that I think that we could have slowed the rate down at which we were making that decision, because if they want to come here, they're going to come here. They might be willing to wait 5 years. If not, they're going to a neighboring county, and the neighboring county can whatever the property tax revenues are, or business personal property tax revenues are. But there will be other opportunities that come down the line. Just like I talk about with economic development. You don't have to just rubber stamp the first thing that comes across your desk. But I think the reason why they made that decision, and one thing I talked about in the forum, was I think the reason why they made that decision was because with the proposed legislation to do away with property taxes, there's been a lack of long-term financial planning for the county. They're planning on a 1 to 2 year, not a 5 to 7 or 7 to 10 year horizon. And so when things like pop up, like this administration building or the animal shelter or animal adoption, they're making those decisions, but they have it planned for them. It's just like if you get an unexpected bill in your house. If you don't plan for those things, it can be a significant problem, and it can impact your household significantly to where you're going to go into debt for those things. And so now the county is going into debt for some things that if you had just planned more in advance, you wouldn't have to make a decision to approve a data center where you're going to get more money so that you can pay for some of these. It's a knee-jerk reaction and a solution that's been thrown out there. And if you had planned, you would have been in a better situation to really analyze and decide whether or not that was the best fit for this county.
Well, it's like me and my wife planning our family.
Mm-hmm.
We want to plan 10, 15, 20 years down the road
Right.
for retirement.
Exactly.
And for our sons'
College
and
cars.
all that,
Yes.
right? So we can't just plan we have to plan for the next week, month, year.
Right.
But we've got to think long term too.
Correct.
That's being a leader
Yes.
for our family.
Correct.
So you would think that government leaders would do the same thing for everybody.
Right. And so when they made this decision, I wondered if it was because there was a lack of long-term planning, and this is what they thought would be a solution to some of the financial shortfalls or things that needed to be addressed that they didn't have money for.
Why the rush? Why not wait?
I don't think that they rushed.
Because
But if you don't have all of the answers, if you don't have all of the pieces to the puzzle, how can you make an informed decision? And I think that they did have an informed decision, that they made an informed decision. But from a lot of other people's perspectives, they did not. And who are you representing? At the end of the day, you're representing the people that live in your district.
did they listen to those people?
I don't think they did. I mean, if you look at the county, I was at the project sale vote, and there were so many people there that were like physically distraught by that decision. And the county commissioners can say we had people from both sides. We were listening to both sides, and they do have to listen to everyone. But it's not going, ultimately, if you're going to make that decision, a little bit more time is not going to be an issue. Like, take the time to listen to everyone, to gather all of the information, and to make a well-informed decision instead of rushing it when you don't have to.
Yeah.
And so, but like I said, I don't think they felt like they rushed it. A lot of other people felt like they did. But to be clear, I would not have voted for Project Sale because I think there were some people that thought I might have been on the fence. I live in rural conservation. I would not want that in my backyard.
Sure.
I just would not. And so I think protecting the areas that are rural conservation and pushing those types of developments where they belong into industrial zoning is more important. And I'm not even opposed to putting a moratorium on them and saying, let's wait.
I'm curious if the commissioners who voted yes lived in that area, if they would have still voted yes.
I don't know. I'm sure it would have impacted their decision.
I'm sure it would have.
I have received calls from people in every district telling me or asking me questions about this, every single district. I'm like, I always ask, where do you live? And they said, well, I want to know how you feel about it. And that's okay. I mean, because on a statewide level, like I'm representing the entire county, right? Focusing on District 3, then Coweta County, and then at a statewide level, how does Coweta fit into Georgia? And so I'm okay taking those calls. Right. I know a lot of people in various districts, but I don't think anyone was happy about it. There might have been a handful, but I heard so many more against than I did for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just curious if the people who voted, if they lived.
Well, Bill McKenzie is that district, and then Bob Blackburn is District 3, and both of them voted no.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the other ones, they have their various reasons. And
I'm sure they do, but it's just, if it didn't affect them, it's easier to vote yes.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I can vote for somebody to, have to eat X, Y, and Z, but it doesn't impact me because they're the ones eating it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So if it doesn't impact you, like, are you going to take as much time to do the research on it? No, probably not until it gets to your district, you know? Are you going to read your packet and look at all the information that's been collected and gathered? I don't know if they did or didn't.
Do you think Coweta needs a data center?
Yes, I do think that we need data centers. The reason why is because we all have phones, we all have computers, hospitals, schools.
Yeah.
If you look around, there is a need for data. AI's up and coming. I don't know how much I'm going to rely on it, you know, and I'm curious to see what the future looks like for that. People dream big, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think a lot of people that I've talked to that are for it, it's like, well, data centers in Georgia are better than data centers in China. I think it matters in the way that you need to do your own research, and you need to decide whether it's the right decision or whether you think they need to be here. And people in District 3 need to make that decision and do their own research and then come and talk to me about it. I mean, because I have my own personal views, but it's not just about me, you know? Like, Project Peach is going in District 3, you know? And there are a lot of people that are really unhappy about those things. But at the same time, when you pick up the phone to do something, you're using that data center, you know? So people can argue to put them in a different county. People can argue to put them in Coweta County. I still want to know from other counties what type of revenue they're getting, because I think that that's still a question mark, because I've heard a lot of different numbers. And, you know, somebody told me, well, if you have data centers in your county, you're going to be the first county to not have property taxes or to be able to do away with property taxes. I'm skeptical on that because I haven't seen the numbers from other counties to see what the facts are and how much money is being generated off of them. And
there's always a trade-off.
Absolutely. I mean, we just lost 800 acres.
Yeah. So there's
that could have been a farm.
Right.
That could have been cattle farm, could have been an agriculture. I mean, we're losing land, agricultural land, at a significant rate because of development. Where's our food going to be grown? I would have loved for someone to have taken that land and turned it into a farm, you know, working farm. But at the same time, commissioners can't get between a willing buyer and a willing seller. So the family that sold that land, you can't fault them for selling their land at a high price that the data centers were going to be able to pay.
That's the freedom of owning our land.
Exactly. I mean, right. You can't stop someone or limit someone. So it goes back to personal property rights. You know, somebody has the ability to develop their land to the highest and best use. I understand that. I get that. How, as commissioners, are we going to make sure that we're following that comprehensive plan for the long-term benefit of Coweta County and the residents that have already chosen to live here?
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going. I mean,
I think that there's a need for data centers. I think the Coweta needs one. I think where and when are the big questions.
Right.
You know, it's like you said, where is important because of zoning.
Right.
But also when do you rush it without all the information? And as a CPA, you want all the data
right
before you make a decision.
Right.
So, I mean, as a business owner, I'm the same way. Like, I don't want to make a decision for my business without data.
Right.
I got to have all the variables.
Exactly.
Because I can make the best decision and a clear decision based on that.
Right.
So something this big should work the same way.
Right.
So I'm definitely, without knowing everything about it, like I reserve the right to change my mind, which, you know, I think we all should.
Right.
But based on what I know now, I think that we do, and it's valuable because of where AI is going and phones and everything else.
Well, hospitals.
Hospitals, exactly. So I think that we need them. It's just where and when.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of. I agree with you.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell.
We'll see. Okay, this one came up a few times, and I liked your answer on those. And I want to make sure we get a more longer form.
Okay.
Talking about first responders. And so my dad was a firefighter and EMT back in Rome. There's a big thing with pay, turnover, and retention in the county. What's the real problem? And what is actually within the commissioner's power to fix that?
I think the retention issue is everywhere. I think it's really important that we address any pay discrepancies between here, cities, other counties. I think that they've really tried to make an effort to do pay studies and analysis with other places to make sure that they're competitive. I still think we have a long way to go. I don't think first responders, police, fire, EMS should have to get second jobs or start a separate company, their own businesses to make sure their household needs are being met. They're serving our community, and we need to make sure we're taking care of them just like they take care of us.
And protecting us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, when you pick up the phone and you call 911, you expect someone to answer in a very short period of time and be able to direct the services that you need as fast as possible. And I was able to go to the 911 emergency response center, and those women are incredible. They are absolutely incredible. They answer the call so fast, and they know exactly which questions to ask and how to make sure that they're reaching out to the right, dispatching the right people to the scene so that your needs are taken care of. Making sure they have a livable wage so that they can continue to live in Coweta County is so important. Police, public safety. We talked about having children. When I go anywhere, I think about where I'm parking, even the location in the county that I'm going to, because I want to make sure that I'm safe. I have a small business. People need to feel safe starting their small businesses in your community, because if they don't, and you've lost that sense of safety, that personal safety, then you're not going to have new people come into the county, which is going to take away from economic development, because if people see a declining rate of growth, they're not going to come. They want to see increased numbers of growth. But every decision that I make and where I take my children is based off of, am I going to be safe there? I have to think about those things. I mean, just like you do. Right. You don't want to go into a part of town and feel like you can't get out of your vehicle. Right. So someone's not going to open their small business in that part of town if they don't feel safe getting out of their car, which leads to economic development. Taking care of your first responders is just the first step in making sure that you have a safe community. Yes. And that you have new business growth and people want to move here. So it feeds into every other quality of life decision. So I'll share this with you. Public safety does not stop with first responders. It also feeds into our judicial system and making sure that our DA Cranford, has the resources he needs. Solicitor Godfrey has what she needs, because police officers can arrest people all day long. But if you can't take them through the judicial process timely, and they're sitting in prison, that costs money. The victims are not getting a timely reconciliation, and so that they can move on. And it goes back to budget allocation. How can we best make those budget allocations to take care of our first responders and to make sure that the needs and public safety in the judicial system are taken care of and addressed so that you have a well-rounded community? Because, like I said, it's not just about the sheriffs or the firefighters. It's also about making sure that you set a tone for the people coming in, and even criminals that want to come here and, do what they do. Yeah. Making sure that they know Coweta is not the place to come and do that. And so that's why I think my qualifications are going to serve Coweta well, being a CPA, making sure we're looking at how that budget is allocated so that we can address all of those things, and not just at a 1 to 2 year time frame, but a 5 to 7 year time frame, because we need a new courthouse. Yeah. Where's that money going to come from? Just like if we're planning for our kid's car, or our child's wedding, or our child's college, you have time to plan for those things. Are you making the decision today that you need to make by putting a little bit aside to be able to fund those things down the road? And so these are not like the DA's office and the solicitor's office. These are not just wants. They are needs.
Right.
They are true needs. We need investigators. We need additional attorneys. We need victim advocates. And those things matter. It all is related. So it's important.
Very important.
Taking care of our first responders is important.
Very important. So if you win, what's the one thing you want to be able to point back to in 4 years and say, I did that?
I've thought a lot about this. And one thing that I keep hearing is the relationship between county commissioners and municipalities is strained. We're all in the same county, but the relationships are not cultivated or fostered in a way that promotes collaboration. And we've talked a lot about communication and having communication with the residents that live in the district. But I also think that when county commissioners can work with the local municipalities and form those relationships, but also too, like county commissioners working with GDOT, other representation and representatives for the state that have control over things that are done in the county, like infrastructure. If you can form a relationship and advocate for your county and for your district, relationships matter. And getting along with people matters. Because at the end of the day, if you can't get along with someone, you're not going to get anything done. They're going to stonewall you, and it's not going to be a good situation. And at the end of 4 years, you're going to look back and you're going to say, I didn't accomplish anything because I couldn't get along or I couldn't compromise. And so I think fostering and cultivating relationships is going to be a big deal with local municipalities. And that probably is going to be something that you can tangibly see in 4 years, how we've worked together to make sure we're following the comprehensive plan and improving infrastructure for all of us.
Yeah. So one question before I hit the last one. What makes you different in this election?
I think my background is different than the other two. I grew up in a very rural place. I grew up in Harris County. It was 30 minutes to the grocery store. Coweta at one point was that. I moved here in 2011, 2012 timeframe, my senior year of undergrad. But coming from a place like that and knowing what that rural character really looks like I lived there until I was graduated from college. So seeing it change in the decisions and how the decisions that were made for that area impacted the traffic and the character. It's different now than it was. And it just goes back to every decision the county commissioner makes impacts the landscape and the character of where we live. So for Coweta County, having the background and what sets me apart is I think that I'm very open to collaboration and to building relationships with people that agree with me and that don't agree with me. My dad had a liquor store growing up. And I think that experience, being able to talk to someone that is, C-suite level, all the way down to someone that might be struggling with alcohol addiction or a very low income poverty level, I feel like I possess the ability to communicate with just about anyone. Like Mark will tell me to please stop talking when we go to a restaurant, but I don't feel like I ever meet a stranger. And I think I got that from my dad. My dad, when we go out to eat, I'm like, Dad, you've talked to other people more than you've talked to us. But he just does not meet a stranger. And I think for a county commissioner, you really have to have that unique ability to understand and relate to people that are not just like you.
Yeah.
And that's something I think I'm very different in the other two. I'm not the most important. It's not about me. I'm not attention seeking. I don't care who knows my name. But what I would like for people to realize is call me, talk to me. Like I'm a phone call away. I've put my personal cell phone number out there so that you have the ability to reach out to me. And I think the person in this role and what's going to set me apart or make me different is the accessibility. And when you have transparency and accessibility, I think you have more involvement and I like to be involved, but I expect transparency with the things that I'm involved in.
Right.
You know, like when you give financially, people pay property taxes. They want to know where those things are going. They have every right to know how those dollars are being spent. If I give to a charity, what is that charity doing with those funds to better the organization? So I would like to think that my professional qualifications mixed with how I am personable, those are things that are going to help me be successful in this role.
I agree.
And like I said, I do offer a different perspective. I'm 35 years old, young family, 4 children, ages 4 to 11. I am living the life that a lot of people in District 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 really are living. And I think that's needed on the board. I really do. It's different than what's being currently represented.
Yeah.
And I hope that people recognize that I'm trying to do something not to be self-serving. I said something the other day, like a county commissioner shouldn't be limited by their position. And I didn't mean it like, oh, I'm going to go buy and flip properties. I'm not a real estate agent. I meant it in a way that was, I'm living and working in this community as a CPA. Mark and I have talked about moving our business from Peachtree City to Newnan because our commute is 40 minutes some days. We've looked at properties here. I would like to be able to buy an office in Newnan, in Coweta County, close to my home, so that I don't have a long commute. And maybe potentially buy another CPA firm that's already currently located here as my block of business. And I don't think that a county commissioner should be limited from like doing normal, ordinary business transactions in their community. I do have a problem with someone being self-serving and buying and flipping properties or doing something they're going to financially benefit from by being the commissioner. But as a CPA, like I need to be able to make decisions for my business that are in the best interest of my family.
There's a difference in that and using your power and influence.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? So,
but I wanted to make sure that I addressed that because,
Yeah.
When I said that the other day, I was like, oh, people are probably going to think that I'm going to go and buy a piece of property and flip it and sell it to so-and-so. That's not it. It's just in the ordinary course of my CPA business. If I would like to buy a building here in Coweta, I don't want to feel like people are going to, because somebody told me the other day, and I was like, oh gosh, like people, really? She said, I don't think you should be able to make any decisions that impact you financially or personally while you're in office. I was just like, you can't, I'm 35, like I'm at a point in my career where I can choose to go buy a block of business, or I can choose to serve in this way, or I can choose to go buy multiple other CPA firms locally and buy a building to put everyone in. I don't want to feel like I can't go buy a piece of property that I can put my CPA firm in because I'm the county commissioner.
Right.
That's very different than saying, hey, I own land along the interstate and I want to add an interchange and make a ton of money and millions of dollars off of that land because I knew that's where the interchange was going, but I'm going to recuse myself from that vote. Like, I do not foresee there being any decisions that I will have to recuse myself from.
Yeah, that's important.
So I will always be able to represent District 3 in any vote.
With integrity.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm not doing this to be self-serving.
Right.
No way, shape, or form.
I love that.
So
That's a great answer. All right, so the last one.
okay.
What do you want people to say about your contribution to this community 10 years from now?
I want people to remember that I made decisions following the comprehensive plan because I think that is really the direction that Coweta County is headed. If you follow the comprehensive plan that has been in place and been established with a lot of collaboration, that has been set up so that we know where we're going. Just like I talk about the financials, we need to know where we're going. It's how we're going to get there by making decisions that follow it. Project Cell was a decision that did not follow the comprehensive plan. So that was a problem. And that is one of the reasons why I had a problem with that vote and that decision. So I want people to look back and say, she made decisions that followed the comprehensive plan, and Coweta County is still Coweta County because we elected her.
Right.
The rural character was preserved. The quality of life was improved. Decisions that she made, she really thought about the people that lived here before just saying, yeah, throw it up right there, because I told you, like, when I first got into this, like, I want my children to want to come back to Coweta County. If it looks like Gwinnett, they're not going to come back here. Or Henry, they're not going to want to raise their families here. We play in the creek. We have chickens. We have bees. Those are the experiences that I want my children to look back on and say, that's what I want to give to my kids. Right. And I can still do that in Coweta County. Yeah. And the person that you elect is going to have a hand in making those decisions. Are we going to go this way, or are we going to go that way? Yeah. So, and hopefully people see that and agree that I'm the right fit. Time will tell, But it's not in my hands. It's in God's hands. Absolutely. And I have complete contentment and peace about that. And I think that's made this a lot easier too. Just it hasn't been hard. Now the forums are very stressful. I'm not going to lie, but like the people that I've met and that have been put in my path, there have been no significant barriers to entry. And I think that is encouraging in itself, just knowing that I'm following the path that's been laid out in front of me. And
while at the same time forging your own.
I agree with that. Yeah, you have to make decisions that lead you down that path, but you have free will, and you have free will to do that. But I'm just saying, hey, I'm an option. I'm one of the candidates. And if you feel like I'm going to best serve you and represent you by taking this role, then please vote for me.
Yeah. I want to get you out of here because you had a heart out.
Yes.
But I want to give you a chance to dispute a comment that was made.
Okay.
Correct me. Because sitting down talking with you, I can validate the comment was wrong. Was it you were a Democrat or
moderate leftist?
Or leftist, yeah. Moderate or leftist.
That could not be further from the truth.
So I know that because we've had a good conversation off camera. So
yes. And anybody that thinks that needs to know that is false. That is very false. I wouldn't say I'm an extremist,
right,
or anything like that, but I lean very right.
Yeah.
I'm very Republican. I have my concealed carry. I'm pro-life. I'm very fiscally responsible. I want to cut property taxes. I want that for everyone. The path that one of the other candidates would choose to get there, I don't think that's the best path. You can't just go. If you go into a new job, or a new company, you don't go in to a new department and say, I'm scrapping all of this and doing away with all of these positions. You go in and you learn. Mm-hmm. You listen and you learn. And then you make decisions based off of those things that you've heard. To best move forward, you have to have a plan. It's not just an overnight change. A lot of people would like for it to be, but it's not going to be that way. So when I talk about allocation of the budget, my plan is to, if I'm elected, to go in and learn. How have you been doing these things? What does your process look like? Can there be improvements made? Can there be a reallocation to make sure that all of the needs are being met? I don't think that there are a lot of extra dollars to play with. Please don't think that there are not. I know that is very tight, and a lot of the things that are allocated the way that they are because there are needs, mm-hmm, not wants. But in an effort to cut property taxes, or not bring the millage rate down, because that's what county commissioners do, is set the millage rate. In order to do that, you have to understand where you are at.
Yeah.
And then make a plan to move forward. So if you talk about going in and cutting, it's not a good way. You're going to go in, you're going to ruffle feathers, you're messing with people's jobs. First responders. You think going in and cutting first responders' budget is going to be a good thing for first responders? No, because some people will lose positions, so you can't go in that way. But to address it, no, I am very far right.
Yeah.
Very far right.
Yeah.
And there should be no mistake about that whatsoever. And if anybody would like to have the conversation and ask me pointed questions about how I feel about X, Y, and Z, I encourage them to do so.
Yeah. My take on what you just said is you can't just walk in and just change things
No.
as one commissioner.
Right.
So let's understand that.
Right.
One person can't walk in and just flip tables and change things.
Right.
But you having a different perspective, being 35, as you said,
Right.
a mom, you have a different lens.
I do.
So you see things differently
Yes.
than the ones that are there now.
Right.
So you can come at it and a CPA. So you might see things that they haven't seen yet. So you can make your change and sell them on that.
Right.
This is how I feel we should go and communicate.
Right.
So I think that's why.
Well, someone that's retired makes decisions financially that very different than someone that's 35 years old.
Right.
So that is a different perspective.
Right.
And age, yes, I'm younger than the other two. One's 16 years, one 20 years. But I don't think that is a bad thing.
No.
I don't. So I'm here.
I think it works in your favor.
I have more energy, and I do get a little passionate about things at times, but I think having that is going to be helpful in a role like this.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe younger people will want to be more involved because they see someone else doing it. You know, maybe that they were like, well, it's usually just retired people or people that are older. And maybe this will help encourage someone that wants to get involved that just hasn't seen anyone do it before at this age, you know,
Yeah.
or even younger. Or maybe they'll take more of an interest in it and want to have a decision on the comprehensive plan, or they'll want to step up for a board seat, you know, or a committee or something that's more political in nature because they're seeing someone else in a different demographic do it.
Right.
So we'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
So I have a website.
Okay.
I also have a Facebook page.
You have a Facebook page now.
I do. I'm still on the fence about that Facebook page, but I do have one, and you can find me there. My website, my email address, is my personal cell phone. All of those things are posted, so you can get a hold of me several different ways, and I try to respond within 24 to 48 hours.
What's the site address?
Dakota-Caldwell.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I know
was
you
fun.
got a busy schedule, so thank you for carving the time out
I appreciate
to
you
come chat.
being willing to talk to me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not important, so
Yes. This is important. So thank you for
it
coming.
is important. I'm not important,
Whatever.
but we'll see.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.